Jurors are deliberating in the high-profile defamation case fought for over a month in Virginia between actors Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. For 6 weeks, the court heard the tawdry details of Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard's volatile relationship and its eventual unhappy end. Then finally, Mr. Depp sued his ex-wife for defamation over an opinion piece she wrote for the Washington Post alleging she was a victim of domestic abuse, though it did not name him. Ms. Heard filed a countersuit. Today's video has some things defining the Depp and Heard defamation trial. Here we go. It's mutual abuse. According to some, Ms. Heard and Mr. Depp's relationship can be summed up in mutual abuse. Ms. Heard's former marriage counselor, clinical psychologist Laurel Anderson, used this description. Dr. Anderson, who was called to the stand by Mr. Depp's team, described a volatile relationship in which both parties threatened to leave sessions during arguments. However, in Dr. Anderson's opinion, Ms. Heard was frequently the instigator of these fights. Dr. Anderson stated that Mr. Depp had been well controlled for decades prior to meeting Ms. Heard and had not engaged in violence with previous partners. He was triggered by Ms. Heard. They engaged in what I perceived as mutual abuse, she informed the jury. Ms. Heard said she initiated violent interactions on multiple occasions in an attempt to keep Mr. Depp from leaving. It was a point of pride for her to initiate a fight if she felt disrespected, the court heard. Personality issues or post-traumatic stress disorder. Dr. Shannon Curry, a forensic psychologist, called to the stand by Mr. Depp's team, told jurors she believed Amber Heard had a borderline personality disorder and histrionic personality disorder. Dr. Curry stated that she arrived at her conclusion after spending approximately 12 hours with Ms. Heard in December 2021, conducting mental health tests and reviewing her medical records. According to Dr. Curry, borderline personality disorder is an unstable disease characterized by a lot of anger, cruelty toward people less powerful, and attention-seeking. The actions are driven by an underlying fear of abandonment, she claims, referring to audio evidence presented in a court of Ms. Heard begging Mr. Depp not to leave her. According to a psychologist, Amber Heard has 2 personality disorders. Dr. Curry's diagnosis, however, were rejected by Ms. Heard's team psychologist, Dr. Dawn Hughes. On the other hand, Dr. Hughes diagnosed Ms. Heard with post-traumatic stress disorder as a result of intimate partner violence by Mr. Depp. Who exactly is the monster? It all depends on who is asked. Again, jurors were shown 2 very different images of the trial's main characters. Ms. Heard told the court that the monster was her ex-dark husband's side, the volatile and violent version of him that emerged when Mr. Depp was drunk or high. Mr. Depp's text messages to staff and friends seemed to back up this account. On one occasion, he wrote, "Amber and I have been absolutely perfect. I have locked my monster child away in a deep cage. And it has worked." However, while testifying, Mr. Depp stated that the term monster was only used to appease his then-wife and avoid conflict. Substance abuse is rampant. Jurors heard 2 opposing stories about Mr. Depp's drug use throughout the trial. According to Mr. Depp, he was sober for the majority of his relationship with Ms. Heard after detoxing from the opioid oxycodone in 2014. Ms. Heard, on the other hand, described a different Mr. Depp, one who was prone to alcohol and drug binges, despite her repeated pleas for him to get clean. Mr. Depp, according to Ms. Heard, was a heavy user of alcohol, cocaine, and pain relievers. He'd pass out, get sick, and lose control, she explained. According to testimony, this behavior occurred in front of Mr. Depp's children. In one case, the longtime manager of the actor's private island in the Bahamas testified that she saw Mr. Depp pass out in the sand in front of his son. Mr. Depp slammed Ms. Heard's portrayal of his drug use, calling it grossly embellished and plainly false. His team pointed out that she drank and occasionally used drugs. Depp claims he never did Heard. Mr. Depp denied his former partner's allegations of abuse on the stand, telling jurors that he had never struck Ms. Heard in that way, nor have I struck any woman in my life. Mr. Depp, on the other hand, claimed that he was abused and demeaned by Ms. Heard. It could start with a slap or start with a shove. It could start with curling a television remote at my head, he stated. She, Ms. Heard, craves conflict and violence. It appears out of nowhere. Mr. Depp's team supported these claims with Ms. Heard's own words, audio recordings, and handwritten notes. It had a burnout for Amber. During 4 days of testimony, Mr. Depp was questioned about a number of text messages and emails containing graphic insults to his ex-wife. In one instance, he was questioned about a text exchange he had with British actor Paul Bettany in 2013. Mr. Depp had written, "Let's burn her," referring to Ms. Heard. "Let's drown her first, then burn her." He then made another obscene suggestion, "to ensure she is dead." The actor told jurors he was ashamed of the messages and that they were based on a Monty Python sketch. "This is a film we'd all watched as kids. It's just irreverent and abstract humor," he says. What do you think about their defamation trial? Let us know in the comments below.